Now, the demand for air travel is projected to remain low in the coming months, despite resumption of both domestic and international flights in most countries. Well, this largely attributed to fears of infection risks as operators insist on not reducing cabin capacity. Faizal Ahmed sought to find out just how safe it is to fly in the COVID-19 era.
The question on the minds of a lot of passengers who are using KQ aircraft is how safe are they when they're flying with no social distancing requirements inside the cabin. However, according to Boeing, they say that the aircraft cabin is one of the most safe places someone can be. Perhaps this remains the sole reason why the International Air Transport Association IATA predicts that it will not be up until 2024 for air transport to go back to where it was pre-COVID-19 days. But according to aircraft manufacturers and operators, the industry has put in place systems to ensure passenger safety despite the obvious lack of social distancing in sitting arrangements. Within the cabin, a ventilation and filtration system known as the high-efficiency particulate air filter has been fitted. This helps to clear the air during flights. In keeping with the health and safety requirements, airlines are now required to fit their cabins with the ventilation and filtration systems that not only cleans the air on the plane, but also kills viruses and other pathogens in the cabin.
And the risk of transmission within the cabin of the aircraft is much lower than in almost any other place, including the hospitals. Because of the way the configuration of the cabin, and the way air flows from up to down, and the exchange of air filtration process.
According to Jim Haas of Boeing, the circulation system on most aircrafts are fitted with the HEPA air filters, which catches 99.99% of particles, including viruses like COVID-19.
And we have quite a few protective measures on the airplane. The way the cabin air flows vertically downward. The HEPA filters that pull out over 99.9% of viruses, and the rate at which cabin air is exchanged very rapidly. The volume of cabin air in the airplane is exchanged every 2 to 3 minutes, much faster than you'd find in other homes or apartments or office buildings.
The filters ensure that the quality of air on board is kept clean by consistent filtration and replacement with air from outside the aircraft. They also trap particles such as viruses and bacteria, and as the air flows primarily from the ceiling to the floor, it helps minimize particulates spreading throughout the cabin.
So the first technology we're looking at is antimicrobial coatings, and these are coatings that are typically sprayed on to surfaces such as lavatories, overhead bins. And what they do is provide a very hostile environment for viruses and bacteria. So if a virus or bacteria lands on these surfaces, they won't replicate. In fact, they will eventually die.
IATA says that while catching an infection on an aircraft is typically lower than in a shopping mall or in an office environment, there are simple measures that you can take to further reduce the risk when traveling. Wearing a mask, cleaning your hands regularly, and checking in online to minimize contact at the airport. Further, aircrafts must fumigate once passengers disembark to ensure proper sanitization.
Now, we're not saying there is zero risk. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is it is significantly diminished. And so because of those, and because of the other measures that are complementing the fact that the airflow helps to eliminate a lot of the viruses, like, for example, making sure you have sanitized, that you're wearing your masks, that there's limitation of movement from place to place.
Airlines are also ensuring that they can carry out enhanced cleaning and sanitization procedures in all aircrafts before the flight. These procedures cover armrests, seat pockets, headrests, tray tables, seat belts, overhead luggage compartments, windows, carpets, and the lavatories. This in addition with cabin crew donning personal protective equipment throughout the flight and availing hand sanitizers. Faizal Ahmed, Citizen TV, Nairobi.